Wednesday, September 21st, 1938. A rampaging hurricane with 100-mile-an-hour winds is tearing up the Atlantic Ocean toward the New England coast. The hurricane's raging speed combines with its sustained winds to increase its deadly power.
If you've got a storm with highest winds of 100 miles an hour and it's moving at 50 miles an hour, well, then you have the additive effect of almost a 150-mile-an-hour hurricane.
Around 2 p.m., the hurricane grazes the coast of New Jersey. Sea spray careens over the steel pier in Atlantic City. And enormous waves shred the famous boardwalks along the Jersey shore. In New York City, wind gusts of 120 miles an hour cause the Empire State Building to sway. But even those feeling its power have no idea that this storm is actually a hurricane. Storm clouds gather in Fenwick, Connecticut. Unaware of the danger, Katharine Hepburn takes to the water for her daily swim.
The tide was really stiff, and she said, gee, you know, I mean, the tide is really controlling me here. And she thought, this is very challenging. This is wonderful.
By 2:30 p.m., the storm is less than 50 miles from Long Island.
It was very sneaky. It stayed just far enough offshore that the people on the beaches that were having church picnics and going down there to watch the waves couldn't see it. It was just out there waiting to turn and hit them.
Back in Fenwick, Connecticut, Katharine Hepburn swims in turbulent waters.
The tides were really getting a little more fierce. The wind was actually beginning to blow sand. It dawned on her, maybe this is not just another storm, that this is something extraordinary.
By the time she reaches her home, the surf is crashing over the seawall and onto the lawn. Waves near the family home are nothing compared to what is brewing just offshore. One of nature's most devastating forces, the storm surge. Storm surge is the piling up of water along the coastline caused by the force of the winds against the ocean's surface.
As you force that water up the bays, the inlets, the estuaries, it's like filling a bathtub. You are surrounded on three sides. That water has only one place to go, up in its elevation.
It is this deadly wall of water that typically causes at least 3/4 of a hurricane's fatalities. Today, this effect will be amplified by the tides, which are at their peak.
September 21st represents the fall equinox. That is a time when we expect high astronomical tides. Atop that, we had a full moon. We know that full moons provide a little extra energy. We have higher tides associated with our full moons. You couldn't have had it set up any worse.
In West Hampton Beach, Long Island, 5 children enjoy an end-of-summer party at the Green family home while rain pours outside. 8-year-old Margaret Bradley and her 6-year-old brother Otis are fascinated by the stormy weather.
Pretty soon after we arrived there, the wind started blowing, and parts of the house started blowing off, and that was very interesting. And we were all aware that something was happening, but we weren't sure what.
Well, the weather's getting pretty bad. I think we better call your parents to have them come pick you up, don't you think?
With conditions becoming dangerous, Tot Green tries to contact the children's parents. The phone is dead.
Hello. Uh-oh.
Then the lights go out. "100-mile-an-hour winds are whipping through the trees. It is just before 3 p.m. The full force of this brutal hurricane slams into the coast with astonishing strength. There's a knock on the Greens' front door.
Who's here?
11 neighbors stand shivering on the porch.
Oh my God.
They came from other houses because the greenhouse was a larger one. There were a lot of beach cottages that were only one story or didn't have an attic, and their house looks sturdier.
"75 miles across Long Island Sound in Watch Hill, Rhode Island, a servant has driven Ann and Kathy Moore home from school. The two girls breathlessly recount their adventurous ride home through the wind and rain.
They thought this was extraordinarily exciting, the wind out, and this question that the car was perhaps going to blow off the road.
Suddenly, waves and screaming winds pound the house, shattering windows. Exhilaration turns to terror. The hurricane is upon them. Within minutes, water and debris pummel the house as high as the second story. Jeff Moore, who earlier that day suffered a minor heart attack, is summoned from his bed to help nail shutters over broken windows. Downstairs, Catherine gathers food and other supplies. When she opens the basement door, she's shocked to discover that it's already flooded. With the water rising rapidly, there is no escape.
Jeffrey!
That is when the moments of stark terror came, because they could see what the water could do. There was no ready exit, and you knew in that situation that this was going to be a matter of sheer survival.
"40 miles east in Jamestown, Rhode Island, rain pours onto the already saturated ground. At around 3 p.m., bus driver Norm Caswell carefully maneuvers his vehicle over the waterlogged roads after picking his passengers up from school. He notices that one of the children, 16-year-old Bill Chellis, is absent.
He was downtown and he was waiting for the bus to pick him up, to bring him back up to the lighthouse. And some friends went by in a car and said,
"Hey, Bill, want to go up to the lighthouse? We're going to go up and look at the sea. There's big waves up there." I said, "Sure."
With 8 children on board, Caswell heads out in the high winds and driving rain. The bus will be their only protection against a 20-foot wall of water that will ravage cities, homes, and families.
Go ahead, push it.